Good morning. High on a mountain on the mid-coast of Maine, this is Gordon Gianninoto, and I'm pleased to be on the Micro Effect Network, substituting this Friday morning for Nancy Leader. I am 62 years old. I went to engineering school at the University of Virginia. I went to architecture school. I was a photographer. I went back to school and got a degree in psychology. I became a lawyer, and I paid for all of it being a contractor. And I live in Maine working as a contractor. And all of my life I've been interested in contacting extraterrestrials, and I managed to do so. And so I'm very pleased to be on the air. Now, the reason why I'm substituting for Nancy is that she is, I guess she's 70 years old, and she has somewhat of a heart condition that needs attention. And so I hope that all of you have blessings to send to her and to give her best wishes for the future. So, I am very well acquainted with ZetaTalk, and my wife Janet and I have contact with Zetas on our own and with Pleiadians. And what happened is that as a child, my father was interested in extraterrestrials and UFOs and psychics and telepathy and all of that, and I was the only one in the family that was similarly interested. So as I grew up, and this is, in the early 50s, one of the first books I ever read was on Roswell, and I just couldn't get enough of the subject. When I was 15, with my mother and my brother, I saw a 1-mile diameter mothership materialize, just like winking in with a dimmer switch, over San Juan Harbor. And I went to aerospace engineering school, and I thought that maybe there would be something to that, and there wasn't, because we were going to design missiles, and it was the war in Vietnam, and I just lost interest in it. I thought, well, I've already seen there's another technology. And then in 1968 I decided I had read about Edgar Cayce and pole shift and the future and Velikovsky's books, and I decided that I would try and teach myself telepathy and contact extraterrestrials. And I walked around outside talking to them, and I thought, well, I don't know if I can hear them, but I'm pretty sure they'll be able to hear me. I had always thought, these are really interesting books that you find not in the average bookstore, but I used to have access to Sam Weiser's in New York, which was the largest occult bookstore, and they had books like books from Colonel Wendell Stevens, where he only printed 1,000 copies, and people went on ships to other planets, and I thought, geez, that sounds exciting. So I kept on trying to contact aliens, and then finally in 1988 a ship came from the Pleiades, and I was beamed up, and I spent 3.5 hours talking to humans from the Pleiades. And then a psychic in 1989 said, why don't you find a partner? Ask the ETs to help you find a partner. She said, make up a list and ask them. So I made up a list, and I asked, and a year went by, and I went out to lecture on UFOs, and that's where I met Janet. So to say that extraterrestrials have had a role in my life is perhaps an understatement. She had contact with the Zetas, and we've been together 20 years now, and the experiences that we've had are too numerous to go into on this show, but we've seen every kind of, we've seen over 3 dozen flying saucers, cylinders, cigars, spheres, needles, clouds, colored things, top hats. There's just, it's just like being up by the highway and looking out and seeing flying saucers, seeing traffic, and just seeing no two trucks or cars alike. And so there's no end to what kinds of ships are out there, and from that I have to conclude there's no end to how many extraterrestrials are out there either. Around 2006, Janet and I were saying, what, let's look around and see if anybody else is saying what we're saying. And I took another look at ZetaTalk, and I'm talking about ZetaTalk.com, and I was amazed. It was saying exactly what we had been saying, and what we were saying is that it's the same up above as it is down below. There are unselfish and selfish extraterrestrials out there, and they all come to Earth. It's just amazing how much life there is out there. I would guess just in the Milky Way alone there's probably millions of Earth-like planets with humans or other similar humanoid life on it. So I had first looked at ZetaTalk around 1995-96 when Nancy was first starting it, and I thought, well, I know that, and never went back to it. But in 2006 I thought, now who else is saying what we're saying? And I took a look at ZetaTalk, and I was amazed. She was saying the same thing. I have a lecture that I gave in 1990 recorded on tape, and I say exactly the same thing Nancy's saying. I'm saying you've got to make a conscious choice to be unselfish in intention and behavior in order to meet unselfish extraterrestrials. So I say that because I'm not Nancy, and I'm not going to be Nancy, and actually I know things that Nancy either doesn't know or the Zetas won't say, and I hope to get into some of that